Howdy doody, my friends. Welcome to the channel today. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so very much for your ongoing support. If you're a newbie, welcome. I hope that you find content of interest on the channel. And just a reminder that we're in the early days, and because it's just really me that's working on the content, I get some help as far as formatting and the techno stuff goes, but it's regarding the content, it's just me that works on this channel. So I'm a little limited with time sometimes, and it's not going as quickly as what I would like is where I'm going. But I do ask you to be patient. If there's something that you're particularly interested in that you would like me to prioritize, please do leave a comment and I will attempt to address it sooner rather than later, okay? But yes, anyway, I'm going to update you with what's been happening over the last week. So our subscribers, if I can speak, continue to grow. So this is just something I'm so grateful for. I'm really, really grateful to see all of the new subscribers. I sincerely hope that I'll be able to deliver the content that you're looking for, and to give you more skills and tools as the channel progresses. As I've said, I'm continually looking to develop content. Of course, this challenges me because at the end of the day, I'm no techno expert, so I've got to learn a whole heap of skills to be able to deliver the content. So each time I do or deliver a new form of content, it definitely takes some thinking and some preparation for me. And of course, one of the things that's a challenge for me is, of course, doing all this talking. I actually would prefer not to do the talking because I get a bit weary of hearing my own voice, and I hope that it's not too much for you guys as well. I have thought about doing AI, but I think once we put the AI in any of the content I load, we'll lose a lot of the sincerity and authenticity of the channel. And so I only do it occasionally. At the moment, I'm just doing it on the universal law, but I'm not sure that I'm going to continue with the AI voice content because it just is too generic, I think. It doesn't really float my boat is where I'm going. This week I've left up the picture of the black cockatoos, or the red-tailed black cockatoo, which, if you recall, last week I talked about them and I said, they bring warmth to my heart. They warm the cockles of my heart, and they live in a tree out the front. Well, they don't live in it actually, they're just visitors. They tend to come in a couple of times a year and they shred this tree and then they move on to their next habitat. But the reason why I'm keeping the video or this image up is because I thought, I'm going to talk to this today because I actually went and Googled the animal symbolism on the red-tailed cockatoo. And this is because they've stuck around a lot longer this year. They're not normally around as long as what they have been. And while I absolutely love them, I'm a big believer in animal symbolism and that it usually resonates at some level with me. And this includes things like, we've got what we call a willy wagtail here as well. We see a lot of those. And where I am, as I say, the birds come in at different times of the year and they're usually gorgeous. But anyway, so I Googled animal symbolism, and this might be something that you can take home for yourself if you're finding a specific animal that comes to visit you. Actually, before I talk about the wisdom of the red tail, I should say a Native American woman told me years ago that they have a belief in her culture, and I'm not sure if it's the same for all Native Americans. I think if I use the word Indigenous, it gets confusing or Aboriginal, because of course we have Indigenous Australians and Aboriginal Australians as well. But either way, the Native American folk, their belief is that it's a benefit, or not a benefit, a blessing, that if you find the feather of the bird, it gives you some of its wisdom. And the thing is that you actually can't take the feather from the bird. If you want to receive the blessings of the bird, then you would go out to a level and pay homage to them underneath their nests or underneath where they sit. And if the birds want to give you that message, they will drop a feather for you to pick up. And that's basically a real blessing. Just a little tidbit for you. But anyway, in regard to the black cockies, I haven't received any of their feathers for, just to explain the background. I've just been privileged to see them in the tree. So the powerful lesson, this is what it says, the powerful lesson of the black cockatoo is to surrender, and that we have to accept with patience what may come into the journey, and that which remains unknown at the beginning. So this is, we have to hold faith, will reveal itself over the course of time. So when the black cockatoo arrives, they're encouraging us to remain contemplative and unexpectant, just going through the flow of life. Life's mysteries will unravel themselves when we have patience and when we're not seeking specific results or answers and just trusting in the process that what is meant to be will occur. The black cockatoo tells us to face our fears as a way to practice acceptance and to just go with this inevitable flow of life, creating more space to see the opportunities as they present themselves. And where people might be going, yeah, and okay, for me, this is actually extremely relevant for where I'm at in my life, and it makes sense. And if you think about it, it makes sense to me with the channel. As I said, this is a process of evolving and evolution, and this carries over to all of my life. And yes, I'm human. Yes, I have fears too. Yes, sometimes I can become caught up in life's worries or tensions or whatever. But I can take on board this message of the black cockatoo and apply it to my life and go, you know what? Just breathe. Just go with it, because all the answers will be revealed at the divine time in the divine way. Everything's perfect right now, and everything's going to be perfect in the future. So that's just a little bit of wisdom that applies to me, and maybe it might apply to you, even if you don't have these cockies out in your front garden. So as I said before, the type of content that we've got coming up, and it's not that far away, obviously includes the continuation of the angel content. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a little while. The universal law stuff will be coming to a close in mid-March, so thank God for that, I say. And then we're going to be looking at loading content of a more metaphysical nature. And I'm not going to say too much about it because I like the idea of surprise. But I think it's stuff that you will enjoy. I will also be adding up more content for mood and mood management, and more content in regard to what would I call it? Mood upliftment. And to create inner awareness, shall we say. I will also be doing some content on meditations that are healing meditations in the near future. So for people that aren't aware, yes, part of my history, because, hey, I am an old chook now. If you don't know what a chook is, it's Australian for chicken. And that's just, we always call the old women old chooks. Well, perhaps not all of us, but anyway, yeah, I'm a bit of an old chook now, and I've had lots of experience doing different things over time, and part of them was actually running and leading meditation groups. So I will be experimenting with the process of delivering online meditations and healing meditations for you. So all of that's on the radar in the not too distant future. I'm going to continue with stuff around thinking styles or unhelpful thinking styles as part of accessing the power of the mind. I'll be continuing with that for the next couple of weeks, okay? This is because it takes a little longer to speak to each style than what I actually thought it would do in the beginning. But this also is about raising your own personal awareness and understanding yourself. And it's definitely more involved than what I thought it would be. And as I say, this content is primarily, when I load the clinical type stuff, this is evidence-based. And there will be, I think going forward, I may from time to time insert stuff that includes energy work into these clinical type videos, just as it arises. But I'll be very clear. I'll make sure when I do so that I'll turn around and say there's no evidence to support what I'm saying, just so that you're aware and we remain compliant with the terms and conditions of YouTube. As usual, I'm going to promote this power healing tool, the Chakra Power Balancing. And this is especially for the newbies that aren't aware of it. And this is because I feel that it's so important for people that are bogged down and stuck in situations where they have no control over them. This could be the people living in poverty or in war zones or whatever, where they've got very limited earthly choices. At this point in time, it's really important to focus on personal energy. And in my experience and feedback, using this tool really helps to create a sense of calm and hold hope during these difficult stages. So I thoroughly recommend this tool to people. I'll put a link into the description so that people know where to go to get it. Or I might actually link this video to the actual video there as well. But either way, I do recommend it, and I continue to encourage people to use it. So in regard to numerology, this week I started loading the content on numbers on the birth chart. So number 1 on the birth chart has been loaded. You'll get to see number 2 tomorrow. It'll be published. This kind of content actually turned out to be way more comprehensive than I originally thought it would be. And the types of things that we look at include the influences. This is when we're looking at the birth chart, the influences of numbers on the chart, and that includes, do we have multiple numbers, are there absent numbers, are there isolated numbers, because all of this influences the individual's personality, and it can also identify challenges. Now, I hope that you're enjoying the content, because I'm not getting many comments about it, but I also think a lot of people aren't viewing it, which is a little disappointing, because the numerology is hugely empowering to all people. Once you get a grip on it, it will make a lot of sense, and it's extremely empowering in many ways, not just for the individual yourself if you do your own numerology, but also if you're raising children. And I think perhaps because of the amount of content that's there, people think it's a bit overwhelming. Well, realistically, you haven't got 40 hours worth of content of videos to go through, okay? So it might look a lot, but you're looking at basically a free workshop. And on these videos, you're able to access about 15 years of my learning and studying of numbers and implementing them. And okay, it's not a formal qualification or degree, but at the end of the day, I don't know that you need a formal qualification or degree for numerology. I'm sort of what they call an autodidact, I think is what the term is. I approach learning in regard to numerology in this way. I just allow myself to be guided and steered to the content that I need or that I'm seeking for specific tasks. Now, the beauty of numerology is it does reveal your divine plan, your pathway, the challenges that you're going to have to surmount. I mean, it doesn't lay it out all in intricate detail as far as, you're going to marry a guy or you're going to marry a girl and it's going to end up being disastrous or whatever. It doesn't tell you that kind of stuff, but it does say from an emotional and psychological level what challenges you will have to face, which personality traits you might need to put energy into addressing as part of giving yourself this quality of life that you would like, because ultimately everybody is seeking to have a happy life and a happy family life and to live well, live peacefully. And numerology provides clues to this. The other thing about numerology is it does actually disclose the karmic pathway, okay? And if there is any past life karma that is to be worked out. If you've got the time of birth, that is vital to assessing this. And you will be able to see how this plays out. At least, I don't do it fully, but when it comes to, what number? I can't remember. One of the numbers or one of the birth charts that I've put up with this numbers on the birth chart, I've got an example sample, and I do talk on there where I did an assessment of karma and the karmic pathway for one of those. And this is because I decided to steer away from using a famous person, and I used the example of one of my grandchildren. But, by all means, please write your question, make comments if you like. If there's more information you want to know, let me know. I suspect that most people will have their interest when we start talking about, or when I deliver the content on birth arrows, because we've still got to look at that, and what we call the birth pyramids. And then we'll be taking a look at the karmic pathway so people can assess that for themselves. Parents, if you've got young children, you can get parenting tips from looking at the birth charts as well. You can get a little bit of insight about your children and what you might need to do to make you the best parent for these children as well. I'm still working on these laws. I'm still recording the voices and unpacking them and that kind of stuff, but I'm almost there. We're almost there. And I think it's just important to remember these two sayings, one by Krishnamurti and one by Nicholas Sparks, when we look at the universal law. But having said that, I just want to say there's some really interesting ones that are coming up. You know, some of these laws, when I've been going through them, some resonate with me and some don't. But there are some that are coming up that actually speak to my soul, that I feel completely in alignment with what they're saying is where I'm going. And if not completely, it just resonates. But I'll let you make your comments when we get to them as well. Please do. I invite you to make comments and express your own beliefs in regard to them. So in regard to angels, I've got a little bit of information for you today that I'm going to share with you. If angels are your interest, of course, remember I am working on the content still. I love your feedback. I love it when people speak to me and make comments, particularly about the angels. But anyway, my little commentary today is I did load a video and somebody on the one of the public responded saying that there's only 3 archangels. So basically they weren't happy is where I'm going. They weren't happy with the fact that I've made mention of 7 archangels, and they decided to correct me from their perspective that there are only 3. And I thought, you know what, me being who I am, I'm a believer that what you believe, and I think this is what I responded. If this is what a person believes, then that's what's true for them, and that's fine. I believe differently, and my whole response to life is that we've got this freedom of expression, freedom of belief, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to try and force them to my way of thinking and vice versa, because belief is important, okay? But I thought, for me, I believe in 7, but where does this conflict come from? I thought, because this is how I work. It's like, okay, I try and seek understanding. This person believes that there's only 3. Why is that? I believe that there's 7. Why is that? Why do we have different beliefs? Because these are ideas. And I saw that in the Christian Bible, it refers to the 3 archangels that this lady was referring to. I presume it was a lady, could have been a man. And then I thought, well, where did this whole idea of 7 archangels come from? So I did a bit of Googling, as you do, and I learned that the first time, as far as I know, that 7 archangels were mentioned was actually about 167 BC by Enoch. So this gets a bit religious, but at the same time, religious and researchist or whatever, it's just really, I find this stuff fascinating. I don't know if other people do. And I don't think, incidentally, by the way, that you have to be a believer in any particular faith or a believer in the books or a believer of any of the content that I'm going to speak to right now. I just find it interesting and I thought I would share it with you, okay? So the first mention of 7 archangels was in 167 BC by a man called Enoch, who was the father of Methuselah. Now, I had to go and Google all of this, basically doing family org chart. Okay, Methuselah, from what I understand, was said to be the grandson of Noah, the bloke that built the ark, okay? The Book of Enoch was supposed to have been translated from Aramaic and was initially accepted into the Christian church, but then rejected as not being real, okay? But that became divisive for people. So there were some, if you like, fractions or factions that kept the teachings alive of Enoch, and those that kept it alive states that the information about the 7 archangels comes from the Chaldeans and Babylonian times and is said to link back to Persia and Ethiopia and Egyptian elements as well, which I find extremely fascinating. So bearing in mind, of course, this is my belief, I think that it probably resonates with me, the business of the 7 archangels, which I'm going to say straight up I believe in. because I actually am attracted to the teachings of Pythagoras, which is the teachings of the Charlians. But anyway, it was, what have I got to say? Some of the scholars, what I did see, and this was on the Encyclopedia Britannica site, by the way, some scholars theorised that the content in regard to the Book of Enoch was written in 2 AD by a Jewish Christian, and that's why the Catholic Church actually rejected the Book of Enoch, you know? Just interesting. But the other little interesting point that I saw was that they have different names for the 7 archangels. Now, I'm once again remind people I'm a believer that what you believe is true. And this is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily fixate, although I put up the names of the archangels and I have names for them. This is part of me and my comfort levels. I need to put names to people or energy, if you like, or the angels. Now, the names of the angels that were referred to, I believe, in the book of Enoch, from what I can see, they're actually called Michael, Uriel, Ramiel, Raguel, Saraquel, Gabriel, Zotiel, and Phanuel. So there's actually, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them there that are mentioned in the Bible. But yes, anyway, that was just a point of interest. The other thing too, because I've got this fascination with beliefs anyway, because if you look at things like the dreaming of the Aboriginal folk, and when you look at language and words and that kind of thing, I think quite often there's actually shared beliefs across cultures, but they define it differently. They apply different words to it. But anyway, I just wanted to say, because I mentioned Noah's Ark before, that people would be going like, oh my God, here we go, right? Well, I have no emotional investment in the truth of these things, I've got to say, but I have an interest and fascination with, say, archaeology when they do the digs and that. But anyway, where I'm going with this is I saw a doco a few years back that and let's be real, archaeologists are primarily scientists as well. They want evidence, they're interested in facts. What they did was they had this tablet that they knew came from, it's called a Charlian tablet, and I've referred to it actually in one of the videos, I'm sure it's that one, where they've been able to translate it. They've now learned how to translate these tablets. Anyway, you will find a video online of where a guy put it to the test. He built an ark as per the dimensions that are outlined on this tablet. And so that would substantiate, although the experiment failed, they actually believe that it failed because, as with anything, if you're going to build something, you have to have expertise. And back in those days, they would have had craftsmen or craftspeople that could do things like make the tar and put it together. Look, the ark that they created based on the dimensions actually sunk. But I speculate myself, my theories are that whether we believe in the Bible as the word of God or not, that there must have actually been some form of substance in some way to this business of Noah building an ark, because it was absolutely massive. And they know that on a smaller scale, that the type of ark that he would have built, I think is actually used in some parts of the surrounding areas to this day. It's basically made from tar and I think layers of leaf or wood matter or something like that. But obviously for the size of the vessel that he created, the dimensions were massive. But anyway, that's just a little story. Have some fun, do your own research if that sounds interesting to you. I enjoyed watching it, if nothing else. So, in regard to angels, of course, you will have seen the content on Archangel Gabriel be loaded this week, and that includes information on his powers, what he can teach and share with us as part of improving our connection with the Creator, and how to bring more peace in our lives. Now, just a reminder, when we invoke the angels, it's important to remember that their primary purpose and function is to reawaken the memory of our divine plan and our purpose on this earthly life. So when you connect or invoke the angels, always call upon the Creator first by whatever name you refer to the Creator, whether you call him, her, God, Jesus, Allah, Divine Goddess, whatever, Jehovah, Shiva, all that I am. It is whatever resonates with you, because you have to be comfortable with the invocation process. And equally, just that reminder, if you're not comfortable using the word angel, change it to light beings or beings of the highest vibration, or the shining ones is another name that people use. It's a descriptor. And if you have another name, fine, let us know. I'd be interested to know, because I like to expand my mind. Just a reminder too, yes, okay, when angels present, they're not necessarily going to present with feathery type wings like birds, because their auras, they have wings. I might try and do a graphic. It's just consider it looks like a human aura, but instead it's got a couple of little peaks coming out the sides. I think I may have an image somewhere of what they look like. But from my perspective, there's not a huge difference between an angelic aura and a human one. So I actually, as my clairvoyance developed, I asked them to manifest with feathers. That's just my stuff, okay? You have to do whatever is right or feels right or comfortable for yourself. I'm continuing to load the art reels simply because I have fun doing it, and it's a nice outlet for me as a break in between doing the voice content and that, and I hope that other people enjoy seeing it. I do the quotes as well. I try and find the uplifting ones. Oh yeah, I use AI for that. Gee, I'd forgotten about that. Let me know, do you want to keep with the AI, or would you like me to do a different approach to the creation of quotes? And is there a topic or preference that you would like to see up? Because I'm happy to help. Yeah, leave a comment, please. Thank you. So, my friends, once again, thank you for joining me this week. I hope that the channel is going in a direction that you would like. I thank you for your ongoing support and for being part of my journey. And I'm going to close down now for today and say catch you next Sunday or on the next video. Take care. Have a really good week, a beautiful week. Be blessed. Bye-bye for now.